If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay.
We're good. We're on.
We are live for another edition of the Best Boys Center Ice Podcast 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs. This is, this would be night 5 of the playoffs. And first thing we're going to do is going to talk about the game we didn't cover last night, which was Vegas and Minnesota. Minnesota came up. Very impressive win in Vegas last night to tie that series. I was saying before the playoffs started, we talked about it in the last podcast, that I felt a good feeling about Minnesota playing against Vegas. Even though Vegas won the first game, I think Minnesota's got a young team that really doesn't have anything to lose, and they showed it now.
They did a really good job.
They've got control of that series against Vegas going into Game 3. I think tomorrow night should be their Game 3.
Yeah, Minnesota tomorrow. Yeah.
So tonight there were only 3 games, and we had the early game was a good one between Washington and Montreal. Montreal took the lead in this game early. It was fast and furious. The first 3 goals came really quick. And then there was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they had Montreal scored 1:16 into the game. And then Washington got a goal at 3:47, 4:47.
Yeah, Washington. It was all in the second. It was all in the second. Yeah, second period.
And so the game was close until an empty netter late in the game. So Washington takes a 2-0 lead. Now, I think we both kind of leaning towards Montreal upsetting Washington in this series. Now Washington's up 2-0.
Yeah.
Going back to Montreal, though, and you've said it before too, in the podcast leading up to the playoffs, that the Canadians, when they get home to the Bell Center, that could be a big difference maker. They could get right back into this series with with Game 3 and Game 4 in Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, that crowd's going to be a raucous crowd, but Montreal has had a hard time scoring, and that's going to be tough for them to shake that, honestly. They got to figure out a way to get the puck past him, because Washington hasn't needed to score very much to win. But however, again, that crowd's going to be really on them, so we'll see what that game looks like. I think Montreal wins game 3, but we'll see. I mean, if they can't score, they're not going to. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the key, is they can score goals.
Yeah, and, again, much like Minnesota, a young team, weren't expected to do much. Weren't expected really to make the playoffs at all, and they had a nice push towards the end of the season to make the playoffs. But that's going to be a good one coming up, going back to Montreal. And then a game, let's go with the Stars Avalanche game.
Yep. That just ended 5 minutes ago.
That just ended after the Oilers Kings game. Goes into overtime. Colorado led for the most part until I think the third period. You were watching that game. I think. Yeah, so the Stars didn't score until like 9:18 of the third period.
Yeah. Yeah, they fought that game out, and Sagan won it in overtime. His second game back, I believe, from injury, because he was out for a while, or either his second or third game, and he wins in overtime. I saw a crazy stat too watching that game. For this series, Dallas has only led for 1 minute and 8 seconds of the whole series.
Like a minute and 8 seconds, and they've got
a minute of 8 seconds that they've led in these games, and they're leading 2-1.
They're leading 2-1.
Yep. The only other game they had a lead in was they had the lead in game 2 for a minute and 8 seconds before Colorado tied the game. So pretty crazy that Colorado's led for like 90 plus minutes. Dallas only led for a minute and they're leading. But huge missed opportunity for the Avalanche because there was a double minor penalty at the end of the third, a high sticking penalty on Brock Nelson that he got clipped in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And second straight game that the Avalanche go in overtime with the power play and they don't convert and Dallas ends up winning the game. I mean, that's a heartbreaker because if the Avs lose this series, that's 2 opportunities to go up 3-0 in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dallas is up 2-1 and they've got home ice back. Just like that.
Just like that, yeah.
And if they win again, they're up 3-1 going back home without Robertson, without Heiskanen. That's pretty crazy if they can do that, if they can pull it off.
Well, like you said, you know what? If you go into an overtime with what was wound up being 3 minutes worth of the 4-minute power play, and you don't do anything, and you wind up losing, that hurts because you got all the momentum going into overtime. You've got the extra attacker, especially for 3 minutes. That's a long time for your penalty killers to be out there. And Dallas just prevails again 5 minutes into overtime. So they lead that series 2-1.
I've got one word for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Otter, man. He's just been keeping him, making those big saves when he needs to, and he's just there.
He didn't look very sharp towards the end of the season.
No.
But much like a lot of money goaltenders that come up big in the playoffs, he's one of those guys that'll come up and they can ride Otter a long way, like they did to the Western Conference Finals last year.
That's going to be a scary team if they advance and they get Robertson and Heiskanen back. That's a very dangerous team.
Yeah, very dangerous. Now the other game tonight was a stinker, to say it nicely, between the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. And you kind of called it earlier this month by saying, this is the best chance for the LA Kings to beat the Oilers after losing to them 3 years in a row. And the game started out a lot better for the Oilers in the first period. It kind of turned things around from the first game where they were lackluster in the first 40
the first half of the game.
This time, they were in the game. They were down 2-0 at one point, but they got it back to 2-1, and then made it 3-2. And then in the third period, look,
LA just blew the game open.
LA has 5 power play goals in the first 2 games, 3 of them tonight. So you look at it, it's
roles reversed.
Yeah, it's totally reversed from last year. If you take those 3 power play goals away, the game is tied. And so again, we talked about it after the game 1. We've talked about it between the games. The Oilers have to be more disciplined because it's obvious they can't take penalties against this powerful LA power play that, since Kuzmenko's come to the team after the trade deadline, has really shored up that penalty. The
refs are calling a lot of penalties in that series. I know that. They're calling everything.
They're calling everything, and there's a lot of frustrating penalties on the Oilers, and you can just tell by looking down the bench. It's a frustrated team right now, and they didn't do the miracle that they did the other night in game 1. And
it did not feel the same though watching that game. I just didn't feel like that was going to happen. I mean, LA just was being LA, and they controlled the tempo. I mean, the Oilers, like you had texted me, I texted you, plenty of sloppy errors in this game that led to breakdowns, which led to goals, and you don't want to do that against that team, and they got to clean that up, or it's going to be a short series if they don't.
Yeah, and the Oilers have not led in this series at all. You talk about the Stars only leading for 1 minute and 8 seconds. The Oilers have not led at all in this series. And you can't keep playing from behind, even with players like McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman. You can't play.
You still got good players in the other team.
Yeah. So now, they're down 0-2. Yep. It's not a good situation to be in. There's other teams like, New Jersey's in the same position. Ottawa's in the same position. Montreal's in the same position. St. Louis is in the same position. Now Edmonton's in the same position of being down 0-2. But going back to Edmonton, things, have to change for the Oilers. They've got to be more aggressive. They've got the home crowd. You've been to Edmonton. You've seen the crowd. You've seen games at Rogers Place. The Oilers now will have last change. I think, really, we talked about it too. They got to split up McDavid and Draisaitl. Get them on because they're a more deadly team with them being on separate lines. And then if you get into a situation where it's late in the game and you maybe need a goal or two, then you can go back to them being together. But
I think that they're trying too hard to fit these guys in that haven't played, to be honest with you. Like, I get, okay, guys like Evander Kane, Trent Frederick, guys like that, they're good players, but they're trying to just throw them in the lineup and fit them in and make them work. Yeah. And they haven't played with these guys. And it's throwing them off. Honestly, to try to win, you might want to put Skinner back in the lineup, Jeff Skinner back in the lineup, and, get somebody in because it's just not working. It's not. And outside of that first line, nothing's happening in the team. Nothing.
No. You got to look at the last 10 to 12 games of the regular season without the big guys in there, without a lot of players in there. The guys that took over still wound up getting I think a 7-3 record or something like that in the last two games.
Now let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do for game 3? Who's going to be in the net?
You got to put Calvin Pickard in. Stu Skinner has given up 11 goals on 50 some odd shots in the series. And I know a lot of them have been defensive lapses, but you have to do what you did in the Vancouver series. You pulled Skinner tonight. You get Pickard in there. I know Pickard did give up a goal on his first shot.
1-1 though.
Yeah. So I think you really have to go with Calvin Pickard in game 3 and possibly game 4 because you can't. Stu's just his confidence isn't there, and I don't think the team as a whole, their defense is really missing Matthias Ekholm. It's obvious. It's blatantly obvious that they are missing him on the blue line, and he's not going to be available this round. So they're going to have to figure something out. But yeah, I think you have to go with Calvin Pickard. This is one of those decisions you hate to have to make. But if you have to win game 3, if you don't win game 3, the series pretty much is over because I don't know if they're going to be able to do like they did against Florida last year. And
he looks rough. He does. Yeah. He just looks shaky. Even the ones that don't go in, it's like there's scrambles all going around. Yeah. It's it's not good.
Yeah, no. So I think you put Pickard in, you get a little different look from a goalie that's a little bit more agile on his feet, a little bit more exciting of a goaltender, and you got to do something. It's you can't wait. Regular season you can.
You only got 2 more. Your season can be only 2 more games. You
could be done on Sunday. You've got to do something and shake things up. Put Pick in. He got 20 wins this year. It's not like he got 7 wins and as a backup goaltender.
But you've got both teams having opposite problems. The Kings defense for the most part has been solid and they've been able to control the zone and clog it up. And the Oilers defense has not been very pleasant. No. We talk about Bouchard making a lot of errors, little errors that are going on that shouldn't be, and that's causing goals or penalties to happen. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to take a penalty against that LA team because they're going to, by the numbers, they score 1 out of every 2 times.
Yeah.
Which isn't clean or good.
No. So that series goes back to Edmonton on Wednesday. On Friday night. And they'll play Saturday or Sunday night as well. So coming up tomorrow, there's going to be 4 games tomorrow, and starting with the Panthers and the Lightning in Tampa Bay. That's game 2.
And Toronto,
Ottawa for game 3 in Ottawa. So that could be a difference. Again, it's the same situation as the Oilers find themselves in. The Senators need to win this
3-0 or 2-1.
Yeah, and it's such a big difference being either down 0-3 or just down 2-1.
Because if you're down 2-1, you're at home.
You're
can
at
win that
home.
second
You
game.
got that game, and then it's all even again. And then after that will be the Knights and the Wild.
And St. Louis Winterpeg.
Great win by the Wild, and then St. Louis at home to Winnipeg. So everything will start at about 5:30 Central Time. The last game.
The games are earlier tomorrow.
Yeah, so the last game will start at 8:30. So we'll be on a little earlier tomorrow night than we have been. So again, just to run down where we're at, you can see on the screen. Carson has updated where we are. Out East, Carolina leads New Jersey 2-0. Toronto leads Ottawa 2-0. Washington leads Montreal 2-0. And Florida and Tampa Bay, they've only played one game, and Florida has a 1-0 lead there. Out West, Winnipeg has a 2-0 lead on St. Louis. Dallas, as they just won in overtime, so they have a 2-1 lead on Colorado. Vegas and Minnesota
I didn't update that.
They're tied at 1 each. And, of course, the Kings have a 2-0 lead on the Edmonton Oilers. So, again, we'll be back tomorrow night a little earlier than we normally are because that last game doesn't start until 8:30, depending on overtime, too. That's the great thing about, about the NHL playoffs. Overtime happens quite a bit, and it's exciting. But we'll be on the air. You can see our the past 4 nights worth of shows on the Refocused Radio Network on the Best Boys Center Ice Podcast YouTube channel. Also, it's available on Spreaker.com. We'll be here on Facebook Live. You can we'll if you missed this live, we will share it here, and you can see it again. And I
updated it. There we go.
Okay, there we go. This is a quick update. So you can catch this podcast will be available tomorrow on the Refocused Radio Network, and you can catch the I Am Refocused Radio show with Shemaya Reed and Sweep the League with Rudy Campos Jr. all on the Refocused Radio Network. So again, we wrap things up for the 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs night number 5. We'll be back tomorrow night, 4 games. Carson and I will be on a little bit later tomorrow night after the final game is played. And in the meantime,
hold on, I need to close this. I need to close this one out today.
Okay, you close.
In the meantime, well, this is going to be different from yours. You're not going to like it. Okay. In the meantime, and in between time, Skinner.
They were even getting on pick.
I know. Brutal.
Yeah. So okay, we'll end it there. It's like I don't know what to say. It's like he kind of deserved that. It was just like
he did. Yeah.
So, all right, we will talk to you. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow night.
All right. Bye then.
Bye, Car.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.